Hello, hello. It's Michael Z from the MMA Degree. How's everyone doing? I've been getting a lot of questions about this recent fight between Neil Magny and Santiago Ponzinibbio. Thought I'd do a little bit of a mini breakdown. Don't think I can post any videos of this one. Think that might get my work copyrighted and taken down by YouTube. So let's do a verbal breakdown instead. Bit of a trial error, kind of a new medium for me, so we'll see how we go. So the story of this fight is Ponzinibbio's jab and low kicks, which really did Magny in. So the finish came in round 4, I think it was, where Ponzinibbio zapped a right hand straight down the pipe, ducking inside Neil Magny's jab when he had him along the fence and when he had his leg battered for 3 rounds. So let's talk about a bit of strategy employed by both men going into this fight. I mean, from what I could see, Neil Magny, with his previous fights, he likes to use his range. He likes to take advantage of his, I think he was something along the lines of an 80-inch reach, something ridiculously more than Ponzinibbio. But yeah, that's what Magny likes to use. And Santiago Ponzinibbio, looking at his past fights, we see that he loves his jabs. He loves to snap it off. He likes to wave it in his opponent's face. He likes to, he will try to go in and, I guess, feint a jab, and then commit a jab at the same time, keeping his opponents guessing whilst staying outside of his the range of his opponent. He would not usually commit to his power hand unless he's got his opponents along the fence. Other than that, loves the low kicks, loves to time it off his opponent's jab, which is really what we saw last night. So Neil Magny comes in looking to establish his range, stands in a very bladed stance, very side on. I should say that his front foot is pointed inwards with his toe inwards in a more of a traditional boxing stance. And of course, the drawback to that is he's very susceptible to that low kick to the lead leg, which was such a factor in that fight. But the advantage of that is that once you're in a bladed stance, your lead shoulder is at the furthest point it can reach, and once your lead hand extends, your jab extends to your opponent, it takes advantage of your full entire reach. In the case of Neil Magny, that is the full 80-inch. I think that was a 7-inch reach advantage, which is just ridiculously long. Right, round 1. So round 1 was really a battle of the jabs. Both men were trying to feel each other out. Neil Magny, of course, was trying to establish that lead jab, get that long range going. Ponzinibbio stayed on the outside of Magny's range, but at the same time throwing feints, pressure Magny to the fence, whilst snapping off a few jabs in between. Magny quickly found out that his jabs were not as fast as the jabs of Ponzinibbio. And Ponzinibbio was able to, I mean, his shots were just a bit more crisp, a bit more, it's got a bit more snap to him. And actually, towards the end of round 1, Ponzinibbio snapped a jab to, I think it was either Neil Magny's eye or right underneath the eye, something that's impeded his vision for a little bit. I mean, that's really what a jab's supposed to do. It's supposed to cover up your opponent's vision. It's supposed to not be a power punch. It's supposed to either annoy your opponents or kind of semi-blind them. Round 2 was where Ponzinibbio actually landed that first leg kick, which troubled Neil Magny throughout the fight. He timed that one when Neil Magny threw a jab. Now, the principle behind this is that when you're throwing a jab, you're committing all your weight to your front leg. And when you're committing your weight to your front leg, it's very hard to move that front leg out of the way. It's very hard to pick it up to check kicks. It's very hard to even turn it to the outside in order to kind of catch the kick on your thigh, let it ride up your thigh, catching it and go for a takedown from there. So that would be the ideal counter. But since Neil Magny's stance was very narrow, that was not possible. And yeah, so plenty more jabs thrown by Ponzinibbio. There was some really hard jabs in there. Never really committed that right hand. He feinted a few times with it. He thrown it as a kind of like a reset warning to Neil Magny, but never really committed that rear hand. Actually, nor did he commit that left hook of his, which was surprising. Now, round 3 was just a fucking barrage of leg kicks. It was kicks to the thigh, kicks to the calf. Neil Magny was really struggling with that. He even tried to square up his stance. He tried to switch to southpaw, but it did look like he was not as well versed in going southpaw as he's fighting from orthodox. As he kept switching back, even when he did try to fight from southpaw. He was also caught with two low kicks as he was trying to circle away from the fence, trying to circle away from the power hand of Ponzinibbio. And Ponzinibbio just punted that leg with no mercy. And Herb Dean had to, at one point, Neil Magny ended up on the ground and Herb Dean had to stand him back up in order for him to continue. That was how bad it was. So yeah, he was really, really struggling. Actually, at the end of that round, you just hear Neil Magny's corner going, commit to the jab, come in with combinations behind your jab, double up on the jab. And it's just here thinking that, mate, that's the whole reason that his front leg is getting punted, is because all he's doing is been throwing the jab. He never led with his rear hand, which became really predictable, especially when your front leg is absolutely knackered and you can't even put your entire weight on it. And once you do put your weight on it, it becomes really obvious to your opponent. They see you putting that weight on the leg and they know you can't move that leg, and they will just punt that leg again, which is exactly what happened in the 4th round as well. So not sure if that was the right advice, to be honest. A possible alternate game plan could be, maybe try to lead with your rear hand first sometimes, just something to give Ponzinibbio something else to think about rather than focusing on that front leg to counter you. But the finish came off Ponzinibbio timing the jab as well, ducking inside the jab, throwing that rear hand, finally committing it. So that was that fight. I'm not trying to throw shade at Magny's corner, but I am looking at this from a retrospective kind of view, looking at the tapes, and I think once you do look at the tapes, it becomes apparent that there is an alternate game plan right there, and the outcome could be different, could be the same, but never know. Anyways, enough of me rambling on. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, this is a new medium for me, so I appreciate any feedback and criticism. So leave your comments in the comment section below. This is Michael Z from the MMA Degree. Thank you all for listening. I am signing off.